So, without further ado, let's bring Jared out here. Give him a nice warm welcome. Jared James Nichols.
Hey. Oh. What's up, everybody? Thanks for coming. How's it going? Good? Awesome. I'm going to talk into this mic, even though I really wouldn't want to because they're recording it. It feels really formal. I would just come sit down with you guys. But thank you all for coming. Thank you, Tommy, and the Music Zoo for having me here. What was that store, the first one I went to?
The first store was in Little Neck, Queens.
I was there 2007. Was anyone else ever go there? Yeah? He's like, which one were you at? Was it 2 levels or 1? It's like, I think it was just 1 level. Just to prove to you guys that I know how to play guitar a little bit, I'm going to play first. Is that cool? Clap like a little. You guys are my band now. I'm going to tune it up just a hair.
I was waiting for the next time.
I was going to do it more, but hey, listen, this guitar just came off the wall, and I kind of play hard sometimes, a little bit, and this guitar just went, uh-oh, what just happened? I hit a few notes, and it was ready to rock. So I'm just going to tune it up real quick. Everyone feeling good so far? Yeah? Awesome. So let me give you a little introduction on who most of you probably don't even know who I am, do you? No, I don't even know who I am. Hey, buddy. You got the picture? Yeah. I grew up in Wisconsin, right? Started playing guitar when I was 15, and now I am the old age of 34. So it's been a long time. And I actually went to Berkeley in Boston when I was 17 years old to study jazz. As you can hear, there wasn't much jazz anymore. So I did that, but then I moved to Los Angeles when I was 20 to pursue the dream of playing music, being in a band. And I lived there up until about 4 years ago when I moved to Nashville. And that's where I live now. Has anyone been to Nashville? Oh, yeah. I like your shirt, dude. So I live in Nashville, and I came just especially for this clinic to hang out with everybody. So I want to make sure we all have a great time. If anyone has any questions, anything you want to know, burning desires, what kind of shampoo I use, guitar licks, whatever, I'm here to talk about it. So, but really, I want to talk to you about these guitars. So have you guys seen these before? Yeah? You're my man. So this is my brand new signature model with Epiphone. They call this one Blues Power, rightfully so, Pelham Blue, right? And available here at the Music Zoo. If you have your credit card, lock the doors. We gotta get rid of these guitars. Who's got a credit card? Uh-oh. So this guitar came out in November, and I'm super excited about this. This is the latest, the third iteration of my signature with Epiphone. Pelham Blue color. It has a signature Seymour Duncan P90 pickup, which is killer. I can talk all about that. Locking Grover tuners. It's just awesome, and it just rips. And like I said, we just pulled this one off the wall. And then there's another one right there. That's version 2. That's Gold Glory, right? And the first version was the Old Glory, which was the all black custom. So your favorite? Nice, dude. So we got 3 of these things, and I'm super, super excited about them. I mean, it's a dream come true. And yeah, I'm here to talk to you about the guitar and just jam, have a good time. So if anyone, like I said, has any questions, anything, just holler at me. You're not at the library, no one's gonna yell, "What's up, dude? Welcome." So this guitar, let me just start out with saying, it only has one pickup. How many of you have played single pickup guitars before? You're like, come on, man. What do you need? That's all you need. So let's talk about that. So there's like something really cool about the single pickup, right? So let me go like this. I'm gonna turn this treble down. I'm putting everything at 12 newton. The hot rod gain. So check this out. So if I just play. Up, right? Then you start to use the volume and tone control to really start to mess around with that with the simple controls, right? One pickup, a volume and a tone, turning that tone back, turning that volume up a little bit. All the way back now. You like that sound?
Well, it's the Clapton woman tone.
Totally. Does everyone know what he's talking about, the Clapton woman tone? Do you know the poor man wall watch, right? Weird. But putting that back like halfway, that tone knob, you start to get that kind of neck warmer sound, right? What I find too is the more you dig into it, the more it can kind of, what's the right way to say it? It starts to break up more. And as I'm just turning it up just a hair, as we turn up that gain just a little bit, and you really use your volume control, you can go from a whisper super versatile. It's like the more you play it and the more you dig into the simplicity, the more you find like different ways to express yourself. Does that make sense? And I just love that about playing. And with this, like, one of my biggest guitar heroes, Leslie West. Have you guys ever heard of him? I'm just, everybody, yeah. So that riff, right? The first one I heard was, right? There's something about his playing, and he was playing a single pickup, right? A Les Paul, the Junior, and it just sounded huge, and there's something really cool about only having one pickup. A lot of people would say that it's like the other magnet getting out of the way gives it more vibration and more kind of resonance. I don't know. We're not scientists here, but what we do know is that it sounds great. So when I really dig into that style with this guitar, it has a really freeing, like reminiscent feeling. So check it out. Sounds pretty cool. So I just love the simplicity and the fact that, have you noticed I'm not using a guitar pick? Did you guys notice that? Did you take that? So I'm a lefty. When I first started to play the guitar, I was holding it like this. The guitar teacher goes, man, you got to flip it. Every great guitar player is right-handed. And I went, Jimi Hendrix, right? He's like, he doesn't count. Right. Who is this guy who told me this? Total numbskull. But I flip it, and I go, man, it doesn't feel right when I'm holding a pick. There's something in the way. And that's why I started to do the fingerstyle thing. And I think not playing with a pick kind of opened up my view for tone. And I think that's why I love this kind of setup so much, because it's really conducive for like playing with like, how do I say it? Within your body, but also you feel everything. So if I go like this, I'm not sure about this amp, but we're gonna go to this channel. Let's see this channel.
Yeah, you feel it inside, just...
Yes, dude. Oh, here's the vintage. So check this out. So I just went like, got the... Everything I hit, like, it's like, if it's more quiet, I wouldn't even touch the control, like. More personal. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Right.
I'm not a great guitar player, that's for sure. But there's something I like about playing like that. It's like a feeling. Does anyone have any questions so far? I love you. All you can do in this world is be yourself, right? Thanks, brother. Appreciate that. You guys are so sweet. I'm never leaving. Thank you very much. Did you have a question, sir?
First question, why do you consider yourself not a great guitar player?
Well, you know what's funny? What's that, brother? Oh, thanks, brother. So, I feel like guitar playing has turned almost into like, there's like a sport mentality, right, with guitar playing. And I think that it's one of the most dangerous things to do with like art, if that makes sense. So, it's a good thing in a healthy way where you push yourself to become better technically and more proficient, right? But I have friends that are like incredible technical guitar players. Paul Gilbert, Marty Friedman, let me think, Tosin Abasi, guys like that are, they're, you know, guys that I would, yeah, Nuno, Tim Henson. I met Tim Henson about a year ago. Do you know who I'm talking about from Polyphia? And he's like, man, you're a killer guitar player. And I was like, me? That guy can do more with one finger, you know. But I think what it comes down to is, you know, technique is incredible and it serves a purpose. But I think at the end of the day, it's about what you're saying with that, right? Yeah, where's the song? What's the feel? You gotta have songs, dude. What's up, dude? I'm good, thanks.
Question for you, how are you digging in like that? When you dig into it and you really get after it,
Come here. Come here. Come here. What? Wait a minute. All right, come here, because there's... I like your shirt. First riff I ever learned, dude. First riff. Let me see if it's... First riff I ever taught... Oh, let me try this. First riff I ever learned. Okay, so dig in, come here.
right.
So my thumb always goes down. It'll sometimes do like a pull-up thing, but it's like the world's biggest guitar pick over here, right? My index, my middle, my ring, they usually pull up, right? So like, if I'm playing like, let's say I'm playing a riff like a... Play it without the...
Right.
There's a lot of slapping against the frets. This guitar, like I said, this could be yours today if you want to buy it. He goes, I got one, dude. This one came off the wall, so like on my guitars, I usually use size 11 strings. So they're like a little thicker, but what I find is when you put them against the fret, they snap.
Holding it down, are you putting more pressure on your other two fingers when
When I'm holding it
you're
out?
soloing?
Oh, so check it out. So let's say like for a solo thing, if I go holding it.
So it's like chicken picking.
Almost chicken picking. So like with the fingers, you can do stuff like that. I stayed in Long Island somewhere, and they were having a rodeo meet and greet at a Walmart. I thought that was the coolest thing I'd seen in a long time. But chicken picking.
You need to tell them your workouts so you can get
Kind of cool, right? So you can do all this snap up stuff, like if I go like with the chicken pig, like a. Check out this one. One finger. Thanks, dude. Oh yeah, who's coming up?
Did you ever go through a period of time where you use it, were you hybrid picking?
Yes. Who's got a guitar pick? Big man. So I did this thing where, so the first guitar teacher.
Same colors.
What you got? Oh, you got a blue one.
Same color.
All right, you son of a gun. He would say, you got to use a guitar pick. If you're going to be a professional guitar player, I was 15, he goes, you have to use a pick. So I'm like, well, I never had thought of being a professional guitar player, so I really didn't care. But he was teaching me how to do like down and alternate, right? Well, once I got to a certain speed, it was like my motor skills wouldn't get there. So I started to do the right. It feels so weird to do. I haven't used one in a while.
I mean, I don't even do.
Then I started to go like this, where I put it there, and it was like thumb, index, right? And I pull up with my middle finger. So I did that for a while, but then I remember I played a blues gig. Hold that, I might need it again. I played a blues gig where I was playing like we were playing like a just a standard blues, right? I didn't have a pick, and I was playing with a guy named Hubert Sumlin.
Oh, never heard of you.
Yeah, I was 17 years old. And he's like, you're playing rhythm. So I'm up there and I'm going with the band, right? And he goes, he's taking a solo and he's using his index and he's going like this. And I was like, well, that sounds really good, right? And then I got into like Albert King, you know, and I would hear him go. That sounds amazing. And then Otis Rush, right? Check back. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I'm not gonna play the pick anymore. And at the time, I was really into like Stevie Ray Vaughan, hardcore. So I would try and do like Stevie Ray Vaughan stuff without a pick. So I would use like my index to like. Stuff like that. And I realized that, you know, if you think about it, you can basically do whatever you want. There's no rules in playing guitar. And I think that was the most freeing moment for me. When in life we have all these rules and then it's like guitar's supposed to be fun. So every time I pick it up, I just kind of go, all right, let's just see what we can do. You know what I mean? Questions, comments? What's up?
I see a lot of like similarity, like in the slapping as like to like a bass player.
Yeah.
Taking inspiration from like bass.
Totally. So like, there's this thing, right? I think that it's kind of one of the. It's definitely not a secret, but using that percussive thing with slap bass. I was actually telling Tommy, like on a few of my albums, like I play bass guitar because I love bass so much, like Sly Stone, Larry Graham, like that funky stuff, right? But there's. Check out that little pinch harmonic without pick. I love the sound of that snap, right? So if I snap up with my thumb like that. And I think I got a lot of that sound from like bass guitar. But there's something special about like the ghost notes in between that like, maybe I got it from more like chicken pickers, but it's something really cool like when you play lead, right? And let's say you're going like, what's up?
We have to use a little super glue to get like a pinch harmonic. I don't understand how you do that.
Dude, so when I first, okay, so you guys will like this. It's a real quick story, but it's worth it. I have so many stories. You can just say, shut up, Jared, and play guitar. I'm telling you, I won't be offended. I got a gig playing at the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally in the parking lot. I was so excited. I was like, man, it's going to be huge. In reality, it was us playing like rock covers and motorcycles going like 90 miles an hour past us. No one was listening, but it was like we were the band to greet you in, like, yeah, what's up, right? So I'm standing there, and this guy comes over, and he's wearing a Leonard Skinner jacket, like a nice jacket. I was like, what's up with this guy? That's what I'm wondering. So it says like Leonard Skinner with the guy's name on it. I'm like, maybe he works for Skinner. Next thing I know, Gary Rosington and Ricky Medlock are watching me like this, and they're watching us play. And I was like, oh, damn, okay, cool. So like, and you know, I'm up there just like giving it, you know? Yeah, ripping. So afterwards, they're like, hey man, do you got any, you know, like, come watch us play, whatever. And we're talking backstage, and they go, do you have any shows coming up? And I was like, yeah, I'm doing like, you know, like some bad shows, like not real shows. I'm trying to like flex up. Yeah, I got some stuff coming up, you know, stay tuned. And he's like, I said, actually, I'm going to Europe for the first time in April, and I'm really excited. And he goes, man, Gary Rosington, he takes a sip of whiskey. He just keeps passing me a bottle of whiskey, and I'm like, and he goes, man, I think we're going to Europe in April. I was like, really? Cool. And I'm like, he goes, why don't you open the shows for us?
Nothing cooler than that, man.
And I'm like, and I swear to you guys, I went from like, I was like, what? And they were there with their manager, and the manager goes, give me like an email or something. And I was like, there's no way this is gonna happen. No way, right? Sure enough, I get a message like a week later with a string of shows, Austria, London, Paris, Zurich, all opening for Skinner in like these arenas. Like they're like a legit arena band. And I'm like, oh my God. So long-winded story, we go to Europe, it's the first show, right? It's like my first real tour. This was in 2016. And I swear to you, I go like this. Now, you know what it feels like to be in like an arena. And well, you know, like when you're in one, and yeah, looking the other way. And I remember they go, all right, you know, like the guy, we had like 30 minutes. He's like, their road manager guy was like, go, like start. And I'm like, all right, like look at my guys, and we're like, let's go, right? I go like this. I go. Big chord, right? As I did that, I felt something running down my hand, and I went, and I look, thumbnail, gone. Gone. Not like I broke my nail. The nail's gone, my man. Like,
You're sweating, but you're used, so you're
rock god like this.
I got this shit.
Arena, and I go. I'm like, what do I do now? So I had to grit like the whole show, because at this time, I was using like my nails alongside like the fingers, right? So then I was in Europe for like 44 shows without a thumbnail. No thumbnail. And if you feel my thumbnail, it grew back all weird, which is kind of cool. But anyways, that was the, yeah, sure. Just feel the top of it.
You know, but it has like the down indent.
Yeah, it's got like a weird, yeah. Anyways, I'm glad you felt my nail. Dude. No, but you'll love this, dude. I had one of those, so my girlfriend, my wife now, she bought me like this cool like Wrangler country western shirt. You know, I'm one of those people that doesn't take off the clothes. Clearly you can see until they fall off because I just like my stuff. And I'm wearing this white shirt. By the end of the set, dude, I'm up there and I'm like full like Rambo 3 mode, you know? Blood all over the shirt. The next day, I get it out to go put it back on, and even I went, oh, I can't wear this again. It was just covered. It was like a crime scene. But so that was the day I stopped using my nails because I was like, there's no way. Like, I can't do that, right? So now everything I do, going back to your point, he asked about like super glue or anything like that. If I have to, I will, but it's pretty crazy how strong your calluses get and how, you know what I mean? It's like, you know that feeling like when you have to like sweep a floor and you hadn't done it in forever and you're like, I got a blister. Like as a kid.
Would you ever put on like the side or
Oh yeah, dude. I'll load it up. And like, but like, so like check this out for like the pinch. There's different ways to get it. But there's different ways you can get harmonics. I feel like with guitar, anything's possible if you think about it enough. As far as like, well, how do I get that sound out of it? That's why I started to do the, or I start to go. Kind of cool, right? It's just weird. This guitar hates me right now. It's like, really? This guitar will be for sale, and it'll be really worn in for anyone that wants to buy it after this. But yeah, so like, I think guitar is such a personal journey that it's a really beautiful thing when you have something that's like unique to you, right? Like for me, not using a pick, it never crossed my mind as something cool or whatever. It was just like, yeah, that's the way I like to play. And then I moved to California, and I found myself in all these situations where I'd be playing with different people, and they go, oh, you're the no-pick guy. And I'm like, I guess, here I am, you know? And it becomes kind of, you know, part of your style. Different little quirks about you, you know what I mean? I think that's a really cool thing about playing guitar. It's so personal. Of course. So you'll love this story. I played in California at this place called the Viper Room. It was like one of my first shows ever. And there's a guy in a tie-dye shirt, and he's out there like this. I was like, man, that guy's jamming. Richie Kotzen. I talked to him after. I'm like, dude, I love you. He's like, dude, you don't play with a pick. He's like, I'm not really playing with a pick anymore either. Flash forward to last year, I was on tour with him in a band called the Winery Dogs. So I was opening up for the Winery Dogs. See, I'm kind of, no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, but Richie, we became great friends. And it's so cool because he's not using a guitar pick. And you see what he can do. It's like, there's just no rules. And Richie's like one of the coolest, you know. So I did the Winery Dogs tour, right? Played with them for about 7 weeks across Europe. And then the bass player, Billy Sheehan, he's like, man, he's like, you're good. Cool, I like you. Next thing you know, I'm going out. I did Mr. Big with Paul Gilbert, right? So you guys will laugh at this story. Every single day, Paul, I swear on my life, I never saw him off stage without a guitar on. Literally, he'd be just walking around like this. Not plugged in, just playing, you know, working on stuff. And he'd always be like, Jared, where's your guitar? And I'm like, shit, Paul, we're in like Luxembourg. I don't know, like, I don't even know where I am, you know? So it would be like 45 minutes before showtime, and I'd hear on the door, Jared. I'm like, who is that? It's Paul with his guitar. And he'd have a little micro amp. He'd be like, man, let's share licks back and forth. And I'm like, holy crap. He's got the micro. Yeah, he had one of those. And he goes, oh, check out this Oscar Peterson lick. And he'd show me something really complex. And then he'd be like, now you show me something. I was like, cool. I'd be like, do you know how to do this, Paul? And I do something like, and he'd be like, how'd you do that? So next thing you know, he's showing me all this stuff, and I'm showing him this weird stuff I'm making up off the top of my head. But I find myself in these positions, and I guess all I'm trying to say is all these guitar players that are like technically insane and out of control amazing, they're all like us. They just love cool sounds, and they love, you know what I mean? And Paul would be like, show me some blues licks. He's like, I'm really into blues. So I'd show him some stuff that to me would be like, maybe not something crazy. He'd come up to me the next day and be like, dude, check out this lick you showed me. And he'd put it in a solo for a Mr. Big song. So it's just really cool, you know? Yeah, what were you going to say, brother?
Just R.I.P. The first time I ever heard of that along my guitar journey was from Dimebag Darrell. It seemed like he was doing a free clinic from what I saw, and he was like, give me a little lick, you know, just a 1, 2, 3, you know?
Uh-huh.
And I just like how you were doing that.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Sharing the story.
Well, like, rest in peace, Dime, for sure. I remember one of the first shows I ever went to was a Ozfest. So I grew up in Wisconsin, like I said. If I'm talking about stuff you guys don't care about, just say next. I don't mind at all. So we grew up, it's the same spot where Stevie Ray Vaughan played his last show. One of my uncles was the first responder for when Stevie passed. And when I started to play guitar, people were like, oh, you got to go to Alpine Valley because that's where all the shows are. I could walk there from my parents' house. So me and my friends would walk there. One of the first shows we went to was Ozfest. And it was Ozzy Osbourne, Pantera, System of it was heavy. And I was like, oh, this is crazy. But I remember seeing Dimebag Darrell play. And I remember seeing Zakk Wylde play with Ozzy. And then flash forward, I never got to meet Dime, but Zakk and I become really close friends just because we've toured together and all this stuff. And that's a certain ilk of players where like, it's more than just like the guitar, like it's who they are. They embody it. It's like when you watch Zakk play or Dime or any of these people, it's like, it's like a larger than life thing. Does that make sense? You want to marry me? Let's go. I'm just kidding. Dude, thanks for being here, man. What's your name? Anthony, thanks, brother. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, of course.
The signature P90,
Yes.
is that based on anything?
So check this out. They actually have, you can buy the actual P90 for your guitar. Going back to the Skinner thing, Ricky Medlock, he put them in his Firebird. So for every night he's playing with Skinner, he goes, Jared, I can't stand that damn buzz no more. He's like, I'm playing that Freebird solo, and he's like, now I got your pickups in there, and it, you know. So he put him in his Firebird, which is cool. But you can drop these straight in, but the design is, so a lot of times with these, like they're the noiseless P90s, this still has noise, if you hear it. But it cuts it back by about 70%. I mean, right now, we're pretty high gain. What I found with they would send me pickups, they're like noiseless, and they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't have the breath. Do you guys know what I mean when I say breath? Like when you play a note, it's got to have that spongy. It's like the angel, it's a, you know what I'm saying? You like that. That, my friends, there's no children here, that's the shit to me. So,
When you were talking to them about
Yeah.
the pickup,
now I'm warming up, I'm getting all excited.
you didn't
Go
say, because I have one of the few P90 guitars I have is a 59 Les Paul Jr.
Killer.
And pickups.
Give it
I
to
don't
him.
usually play with P90s, but that fucking pickup
Yep.
is awesome.
Smokes.
Is there something that you had heard?
Yes.
And you went, I want it like that?
So, along with you, I was lucky a few years back, a friend of mine who is this guy, I'm going to plug him, maybe you guys haven't heard of him, his name's Joe Bonamassa. New guitar player. He's a new guy on the scene. I'm trying to help him out, but he doesn't listen, man. You know what I mean? No, but Joe started like, you know, he realized I was like this guy out there playing and stuff. So next thing you know, like we started hanging out. So you ever play a Flying V? Puts a 58V in my hand. You ever play a Burst? Blah, 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 blah. You know, him and another friend of his named Charlie who runs a thing called the Les Paul Forum. So I got hooked up with these crazy addicts of vintage guitars. And the first thing I noticed when I started playing these vintage P90 guitars, I went, oh my God, there's so much more. They're nothing like these new ones. Because I feel like a lot of these new P90s, and I'll go on that record saying it, they're sterile. They don't have like a breath to them. They almost sound like they're, it's just like the most watered down version of what it is trying to be. And I would play these incredible 52, 55 Les Pauls, and I would hit something, and it would just bark at you. And there's something about it, right? So when I started to talk to Seymour about doing this for this guitar, I truly said to them, I said, man, I don't like P100s. I don't like noiseless pickups. It's not because I'm a hater. I think that everything has its own application. But for my guitar, I want it to be rude. I want it to have a snarl, and I want it to cut out of a mix because any of you guys jam with other guitar players sometimes. If you're playing 2 Strats or 2 Les Pauls with humbuckers, you go, man, I can't really get out of the mix. And what I love about playing P90 Les Pauls is the fact that it has its own little sonic thing. So if someone's playing rhythm on a big Les Paul with humbuckers, this can still stick out, you know, in a mix, and you still get something cool out of it. So I said to Seymour, I was like, what is it about the old P90s? Because now I have a 52, I got a 53, and I just recently got a 56 Junior, right? And I said, there's so much more to them. He goes, well, they've been demagnetized over time. And I was like, okay. And he goes, you know, the different, the Alnico 2 that was used, like he's talking about the different magnetism and stuff. I was like, listen, dude, just make this pickup sound like that. So he sent me like 4 versions. And it wasn't right, man. And I just was getting like to the point. And I'm not like a Eric Johnson where I'm like, it's got to be perfect. But you know when you pick up a guitar and you hit a chord or you hit a lick, and you go, and you go, damn, snappy. And then you hit it with the other one and you go, that sounds like that's the Starbucks version, I want the full trucker roast, the Love's Truck Stop roast where they don't have a stopper. So that's what I asked them for. 5th round, we finally got this. And what I love about it is it has all of that nasty, unfiltered thing that the old ones have. And there's that sweet, like I said, like the angel breath of it where you can hit a note. But it still cleans up enough where if you're playing heavy or you're in a club where it's like the power here sucks, you don't have to not play your guitar, And I think that's one of the coolest factors about it. Just frees up that part of your mind where you had to worry before. Does that make sense? So I love this pickup. I'll stand behind this pickup forever. I think Duncan, this sounds so cheesy. I think they at least crack the code enough where you could feel good getting a pickup out of a box and going, you know what? This is going to sound pretty good in my guitar. You know what I mean? I hate when people say, this is the best thing ever, because it's not for everybody. But for me, I know that if I got a P90 guitar, it's like, yo, throw one of my pickups in there. We'll make it work. So you could have one today, dude. You could have this guitar today, man. It's just got a nice snap to it. And then going back.
It's also really defined. I mean, even before, it's still defined.
And that's too, we didn't truly voice it with me just playing with my fingers, but the fact that I'm playing with, yo, take your medicine. I'm just kidding. It wasn't? Someone's like, ooh. Yeah, so like going back to the chords, this doesn't have reverb or anything, I don't think, which is fine. But even if we play like more, you guys are getting like legit, like I don't even know what amp this is. So it's good. It's not like I have like the preset. But if you hear this, nice and clean. It's called it's the JJN Silencer P90. And if you even wanted to, they have 2 other versions. One that's a little less defined, maybe more vintage sounding. But the other thing that I found with this pickup, compared to a lot of my other guitars, let's say I'm playing one of those old guitars. The worst thing is when you switch guitars and then it's like there's a noticeable drop. Because like my old guitars, those pickups are weaker. They're not as high output. And with this, it was like, I want something that can compete with any of these right now. So if there's one where you're like, yo, I want it to sound really old school, like more jazzy even, that's available. But I think, for what this is, it has a very good... It has a good range. It's not bad. It's quiet. What's up, dude? Thanks, man.
I'm curious about tips for like muting other strings when you solo.
Oh, yeah?
Like that's something I'm working on.
He's asking about muting other strings when I'm soloing, and I do that all the time. Like literally, and you notice when you add like more gain or whatever, but so I'm always resting the back of my thumb kind of near the bridge, right? So I'm holding that, but what I notice too is like if I hit one note right here, even if I'm not touching there, I'm using the back of my So my thumb, without me even thinking about it, is blocking the low E. And then the parts of my index finger are blocking the other. Does that make sense? So there's always muting. I'm always muting something. So like, for instance, if I'm playing, let's say I just play something really simple, like I go like. So right there, I'm holding that A open, right? My index is muting across those strings. But if I play this right here. It's so important because, like, if you're playing guitar and there's a bunch of really unwanted noise, it's almost like you're talking with marbles in your mouth. Does that make sense? It's like, dude, you guys ever seen that comedian Ed Bassmaster? Mumbles. He's like, yeah, I gotta go. And you're like, what? He's just trying to say I'm going over there, but there's like all this noise. So I find that the most direct way of doing that is if I'm not playing something, I'm muting it. Always muting, man. But don't overthink it. You almost have to let yourself, you have to like be one with the guitar. Like the guitar, this sounds so weird. The guitar is always vibrating. Right now it's vibrating. I'm not playing anything. This thing's alive, dude. It's always moving. And if I go like that, I'm not playing anything. It's moving, you know? So it's like a snake. You gotta like manipulate it to do every little thing you want it to do. And one of those things is always making sure it's like watching the eyes. It's like you always got to keep focus. Does that make sense? Yes, everyone mutes differently.
It's almost like sometimes you're not in control of something you would think you're in control of.
Well, I think that's one of the big things about playing guitar. All these people want to have control over the guitar. Sometimes the coolest moments happen when you're not even, at least for me, it's like when you get to it's like when you're performing or you're jamming or whatever, and you stop thinking about it, and you're just in the moment, something truly like inspiring, or I'm not going to use the word magical, but something comes out and you're like, whoa, how did I do that? In a lot of the time, it's because you shut your brain off, you kind of go into like cruise control here, and then you start to really let the guitar, do its magic. Does that make sense? I always think about guitar too. Another analogy I always say is like, guitar is like dice sometimes. I'm sorry, like if you were to hit dominoes, right? And they're gonna roll, right? So I'll hit one note and it'll kind of dictate, especially like if you're playing like lead. Let's say I go, okay, it's like you're reactive. So what do I play after that? You know what I mean? It's like you let the guitar kind of guide you along, Like, I didn't think about doing that or saying that, but it's like I just let it flow. Does that make sense? Now I sound like a total hippie, don't I? Let it flow, man. But it's true. Sometimes get out of your own way, and something cool can happen. You got to practice, right? But then all of a sudden you get to a point and you go, let me just kind of, life's too short to always be practicing, man. Sometimes you just got to get in the car and drive it. If the wheel falls off, so be it. What's up, buddy?
How many guitars do you have now?
Not as many as you'd think. I probably have about 20 guitars. 20? No. So I actually thinned out my herd because I've never really sold anything. Like, I'm not like a seller. And then I had a friend, which he worked at Sam Ash in Nashville, and he goes, dude, I have like a storage unit with all like my band gear and stuff, and it was just lined with cases. He's like, what's in there? I was like, I don't know, just a bunch of random stuff, And he's like, well, you should sell all this stuff. And I was trying to get an old guitar. So I was like, well, let me make sure nothing means anything to me, but this was stuff I had for like 10, 15 years. And I didn't get rid of all of it, but I kept my good stuff. But my first guitar, a Washburn. Do you sell Washburns? A Washburn X series. It came with the amp and it came with the strap and everything, I remember. And my first riff was Electric Funeral. But I remember my dad goes, if you're going to play the guitar, he goes, you need to buy this book. And my dad didn't know anything about playing the guitar, but he liked music. So he heard yeah, or the right, is that it? The whatever. I don't know how I did that. What is that song called? Apache. Remember that one? And then I bought this book for $20 and I'm learning all that crap. And I'm like, this doesn't sound like Jimi Hendrix. But that was the book I got the day I started to play guitar. So I learned fucking. Pretty cool. I'm glad I learned all that stuff. Questions, comments, concerns? The tornado guitar? Oh, God, yeah. It's not here. It's actually, so do you guys know what he's talking about, the 52 Les Paul I have called Dorothy? That's my best guitar. That's my best guitar.
Yes, you were talking about pickups, and you said you identified that as being in one of the earliest ones by the pickups. Now, compared to 54, what did you say, 54 you had, and 56?
Yeah.
How does that stack up compared to the others? You know, did they get it right with the 54?
Oh, dude,
I mean, you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, so let me just give a quick backstory. How are we doing on time? We're okay? I'll talk and I won't stop you guys. I'm sorry. So this I love that guitar. That's if you had to have a fire sale and there was one you could grab, it'd be that one. So this guy reaches out to me on Instagram. It was like right when the pandemic started. Because I remember I got home from Europe the day like America shut down. We were on a tour and we got woken up in Italy. Our tour manager, he's got a cigarette in his mouth. It's like this long and he goes, there's a travel ban. You guys need to go home right now. And we're like, what? So 4 hours later, we're on a plane going back to America. And like this was like a 9-week tour we were supposed to finish. So I get home and I'm like, what are we doing? So I was like, I'll probably be home for like 3 or 4 days. I'll go back to Europe. Didn't happen like that. But anyways, I get a message on Instagram from this guy and he goes, hey man, I know you like old Les Pauls. And it's a picture that like, you guys ever see those pictures where it's like tap to view because you don't know what it is? I was like, I don't know if I should open this picture, man. I've been getting some weird messages lately. So I open this picture and sure enough, it's a body of a Les Paul covered in mud, right? But you could see what it was. There was no neck on it. The neck was snapped off. He said there was a tornado in my hometown in 2014. It killed 14 people, demolished like 4 neighborhoods. And afterwards, we were looking in my yard and there was the body of this Les Paul. And he picked it up because he's like, oh, that looks crazy. It took them 2 years to find out whose it was. The original owner's daughter had the guitar, and she had claimed it on her insurance. They put like, literally it was a small town. They put in the newspaper like, if you lost a Les Paul guitar, blah, 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 at the local music store. They found the lady. She goes, it's broken. Just hang it on your wall. So he goes, man, it's been in my room for like 8 years. I don't know what to do with it. And he goes, I think I want Gibson to repair it. And I was like, listen, if you want to find someone to repair this, you wouldn't take your 66 Mustang to Ford right now and go, hey, would you guys fix this up? No, you got to take it to a specialist, someone that really knows. And he goes, wow, first thing he goes, I'm so happy you responded, And I was like, yeah, dude. I was like, just so you know, this guitar, like I could see what it was already. I was like, this is a really, really valuable instrument. And he goes, oh, that's cool, And we were talking, and I sent him some numbers of some people that could help fix it. And he goes, 2 days later, he calls me, and he goes, hey, man, me and my wife just want to give it to you. And I was like, I can't do that. Like, I hit up Bonamassa about it. I said, dude, check this out. He calls me, where is that? And he was even like, yo, the way it sits right now, it's worth like 18 grand. And it was like a body with still had the knobs and the pickups. Tornado age. Yes, dude. So I wish I had the guitar here so bad to show you guys, but I wasn't about to fly I fly it everywhere, but I'm only here for just the clinic. So I was like, I'll just play what's here. But I go meet the guy, and I was like, I got to give you some money for this. And he goes, no, dude, I didn't buy it. I'm not selling it. He's like, a lot of people lost their lives. Like this guitar, he's like, I think it would mean so much to our community if you took it and you fixed it and you played it on something. So a friend of mine in Pennsylvania, his JW Restoration, he's a friend of mine who is paralyzed from the legs down. He works out of a wheelchair and he puts everything in jigs. But this guy works on Stradivarius violins, 59 Les Pauls, everything. But it's meticulous, like a master. You know, like, remember that movie Kill Bill with the swords? Yeah. This dude does that with guitars, like straight up. It takes him sometimes 5 to 10 years to finish a guitar. And if it isn't right, he won't let it out. So anyways, I send it to him, and I tell the guy, I have to give you something for it. He goes, why don't you buy me dinner? I was like, killer. Yes, where do you want to go? And he goes, there's a Taco Bell around the corner. I got him 2 damn chalupas for a 52 Les Paul. And I said to him straight up, I said, does it still work? And he goes, what do you mean? And I was like, well, let's plug it in. And I brought a little mini amp, and we plugged it in, and I hit it with a screwdriver. You know, I was like, it still works, dude. And he's like, holy shit. So Joel, I send this guitar to him, and I named the guitar Dorothy after the Wizard of Oz, right? Because this thing just went through this tornado. And I told Joel this in passing, and Joel's dad was in radio, right? And Joel's probably in his like mid to late 60s, and he's like, oh, my dad was in radio. I said, yeah, the guitar is named Dorothy. And he goes, really? I was like, yeah. And he was like, got weird about it, and I didn't understand why. And he goes, well, I have old Brazilian rosewood. I have everything. I can redo the neck, hand make it, right? So he ends up, whoa, come on, dude. No, just kidding. So he ends up a year later finally finishing the guitar. And I just said, just do whatever you want to, you know, like just make it awesome. So he does this, you guys, he took what was left that was broken and he grafted a neck to it. Like to the point of like, this is something that probably took him, I don't even know how many hours, countless hours to do this, right? And he laid perfectly, the neck laid perfect into the broken bits that were still there. And I said, is this gonna be solid? He's like, you'll never break this neck. So I say to Joel, I'm like, how much do I owe you for this? And he goes, oh, my dad was actually a really big proponent for the Wizard of Oz, and he played all the music on the radio, and he actually worked with Judy Garland, so I just figured this was kind of a homage to my dad, so you don't owe me anything. And I'm like, what? Anyone want to go to Taco Bell? So check this out. And then it needed a few missing pieces that were lost in the tornado, right? Like it was missing a knob, and it was missing like the old, obviously the tuners and stuff. And Bonamassa goes, oh, dude, what do you need? And he sent me that, and I was like, what do I owe you? He's like, I don't want your money. He's like, it's for the guitar. So this guitar now, I remember I got it. We were playing a place called the Sherman Theater in Pennsylvania. I was out with a guitar player named John Five. You guys know John Five? Woo! Yeah, killer. Chicken picking maniac. So he was fun to tour with. We shared a bus together. So imagine being in a bus for like 40 days with John Five. Yeah, he's walking around in a mask and stuff. I'm like, the first day he scared me. I was sitting in the lounge, like it was like 8 in the morning, and he comes up behind me in a Michael Myers mask. He goes, "Wah!" And it was something you'd think John Five would do. It was scary. But anyways, I plugged this guitar in, and Joel goes, dude, I didn't do anything to the electronics. He's like, it works. I don't know how this guitar is going to sound. Now I'm getting to your thing about the pickups. And I shit you not, you guys. I plug it in. I was like, everyone out of my way. I was like a bull. I was like, move, plug my rig in, right? And we're in this old theater, and I swear to you, I went, and it instantly went to that, and I stopped. And I was like, it works. So I started to play like more like, and you know something's really good when people stop and they start looking. And then I start to play, and that guitar, none of these other guitars I have, and I can say this confidently, next time I come to the music zoo, I'll bring it. None of those ones have what this one has. There's like a bark and an articulation, but there's also like angel feathers on the top of it. So that guitar has been played so much that like, you know, like I was in like Slovenia and I was playing, and all of a sudden the pot went out. like one of the pots. I was like, what the hell? So I'm going like this, and it's going back in and out, you know? And some guy goes, oh, man, you got to get the pot replaced. And I went, no. So I sent it to Joel and had him take that pot and rebuild it and put it back in the damn guitar. I was like, don't touch it. No one touches it, you know? So I played the guitar with one pot for, you know, half the tour. But it's just a great guitar. So if you guys have time and you want to look it up, it's just type in Dorothy Les Paul on Google. You'll see it. It's killer. Tom Murphy from the Murphy Lab, he's like, I was at a party with him like 6 months ago. He's like, hey, man, you know, we got a picture of that guitar on the fridge in the shop. He's like, when are you going to bring it over and let me take it apart? And I looked at him, I was like, I ain't seen any paperwork yet, Tom, if you're going to try and take apart my, you know. And every time I see him, he's like, when are you going to let me look at that guitar? And he goes, I don't know, because that guitar is so weathered because it had all the stuff from the tornado. He's like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to.
He's got to be the most expensive, like, aging expert out there, right?
Dude, well, let's see what happens around the pipeline because he wants to take a look at it. And I don't know, though, you guys. I wish I had it here. That guitar has been, like, aged in ways that no human, you know what I mean? You look at the back of it, and it looks like it was from the Titanic. You're like, oh, my God. You know what I mean? You'll see it, dude. Hell yeah. Longest story ever. Pretty good stuff. Who wants to come jam with me? Does anyone want to come up and jam? Thank you, guys. Thank you, Tony. You did too. And let's hang out. Sorry you didn't learn anything. Not sorry.